All right, here we go. We are live, and we're glad you're here. This is the Blue Plate Special. We're live here at the wharf in Orange Beach, Alabama. Everything good, Matt?
Everything's good.
All right, we're here at the wharf, and we're the only ones here at the wharf. I think we're the only ones here. Matt? We're the only ones here. Yes. And the Hurricane Mustang Sally, is supposed to be coming in tomorrow. And we're just going to kind of talk about that on the show. We're going to give you some video that we have. Hey, Patricia Clapp. Hey, Diane Hale. Hey, Jennifer Joyce. Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. And Judith from Washington State, and Amy, you got notified that this was starting. I'm so glad. So, and you had to press pause on your Audible version of Just Jones. Where was I? So it's nuts. We're gonna show you some stuff. We're gonna tell you some stuff. If you're new to us, we missed you last week. I was off in Nashville doing the launch of the book, as it were, and I missed you. You know, I missed doing this, and so we're glad to be back. And by the way, Page and Palette, we're doing a live web event tonight. It has been rescheduled. Okay. I don't know if they have water coming in their doors, but we did a little while ago. But with the help of time on my knees and working and praying, and some black garbage bags and a lot of Gorilla Tape, I have taped the doors up. And so hopefully we ain't got too much water coming in. But how do you like my Sand Dollar shirt? This is from Sand Dollar Lifestyles, right up there. I'm sure they're closed today. Everybody's closed here. I mean, there's like nobody even walking by, going by, driving by, no cars, anything. But this is my Sand Dollar shirt. Matt, can you show us the back of the shirt?
There it is.
Isn't that very cool? It's a redfish, but there's art inside the redfish, so a very artsy fishing shirt. But thank you, Sand Dollar Lifestyles, for these. So this has been rescheduled for tonight, but we wanted to go ahead and do the Blue Plate Special, and then Matt and I will get home. Hey, Judson, you're still above water? Good. Hey, do you see the Brian Backen picture in the background? Brian Backen with us on Twitter. And all the Twitter army with Brian back. And look, that's Brian and Vicky back there. You know, Brian and Vicky are our next door neighbors. And so we said, wow, that is just like our canvases that we have up there. I said, let me just take you and have you with me in the studio for a day. So that's Brian and Vicky right there. Beverly Newton. Simon says she's listened to Just Jones twice in the past week and love it. Thank you very much. Hey, if you guys get a chance, if you have listened to it or read it yet and you like it, please go and review it on Amazon. Don't say you're my friend or anything because they'll knock it out, okay? But don't say we spend a couple of lunchtimes a week together or anything like that. Just act like we don't even know each other, and then maybe they'll put it on there. But if you don't like the book, don't even bother. Don't say anything about it at all. And yes, I can show you more of the peace table. I don't know if we'll do that later in the week. I mean, because we're the only ones here, and so we've got there, but you can see some of it right here. And Mark Lowry asked, I know he asked a bunch of people to pray for us because of the hurricane, and we appreciate that. And so Susie Armstrong Mayo. Now we got a good question here. Susie says, why are you still there? Okay, let me just tell you why. And hey, Gene McDonald, how are you doing? Um, Susie, we are still here because this is a Category 1 storm. It's going to come in at a Category 2. Okay, now a Category 3.5, we're out of here. Really, a Category 3, we leave. Okay, some people stay, but not us. Hey, Cindy Ziegler Oates, and I'm so glad you're liking it. I'm really so glad you're liking it. Thank you. You want to see it, now? It's like, Matt, how far offshore is the storm? So see, it's kind of stalled, and so that means, we had one stall a few years ago, and when it stalls, number one, you don't really know where it's going because they got us right in the middle of the cone now. They're saying, and more to Susie's question, I don't really know anybody who's left. Everybody's just kind of hunkered down. It's kind of, with the COVID and with the hurricane, it's like a double hunker. We're doing a double hunker here in Orange Beach and Gulf Shores. But this, it will come in probably less than 100-mile-an-hour winds. But when it stalls like that, nobody really knows where it's going. But the real problem with it stalling is it just stays over you and just rains, okay? We're in the outer bands right now. Okay, so SB says 75 miles offshore. It's coming in at a Cat 1. Okay, all right. But I just got to tell you, I'm kind of acting like that's no big deal. Hey, Gloria. Hey, Gigi. Gigi wants more. Now you say you like Blair Houston. I actually like her too. But we say Category 1, we're acting like it's nothing, but there's a lot of property damage with a Category 1, and a lot of docks get really beat up really bad. There's a lot of expensive damage done. And we're going to show you we're going to show you a live feed in a second and show you what what the beach is kind of looking like. SB, can you look for me and see what direction is the wind here? Just looking outside, it looks like it's kind of southeast right now and probably going to go straight south. But, let me explain something about the hurricanes to you guys who are all over. And people are curious about this, but if you want to know where we live, you want to know whether to pray for us or not, you can always pray for us. We'd always appreciate that. But I'm like the only person that you'll ever meet who can give you directions to my house on a national map. Because if you look at where Florida touches Alabama, right on the coast, right on the line there, that's where we are, right there. Our mailbox is in Alabama. We look out a back door and we see Florida. And so we are right on the line. And so when you're looking at that big hurricane map and you're seeing that storm coming in, here's the thing about hurricanes. They always flow counterclockwise. You want to see a live feed or the radar shot, Matt?
I'll show the radar.
Okay.
Over to the radar. Lose your sound. So now you're back with the radar.
Okay, so you saw how that does a counterclockwise spin, all right? If you put a point on the map, we're not on the beach. We don't live right on the beach. We live on some water that's off the beach. But our house faces to the south, okay? So if you put a point, and this is true not just of us, but of anywhere you're watching a hurricane come in, you put a point on the map, and when that hurricane goes in, if it goes just a little bit to the left of us, or just a little bit to the west of us, we get just pounded, okay, because it's going counterclockwise, which means the winds are coming from offshore and it's hitting that south wind and blowing that water right into the house and the docks and everything. All right. Now, if it goes just a little bit to the east of us, a little bit to the right of us on the map, then it's still spinning counterclockwise. And what happens is, and so right now the winds are blowing from the east here, okay, here outside. But anyway, if that that thing is spinning counterclockwise and it goes over this side of us, then the winds are coming from behind the house and they're blowing the water away from us, which is what we want. Somebody's going to get it no matter what, okay? But right now it's still 75 miles off, and so winds coming from the east. And have we got a live feed from Turquoise?
Yeah.
Turquoise is a big, tall condo here in Orange Beach. And so you can see, I think, the live feed there. And, you know, the beach is not blowing up too bad, but it's bad enough you don't want to be in it. Okay. But, you know, this wind and the rain, and with it stalling, this rain is just like, and we know people who did not take their boats off their boat lifts. You know, everybody around here has a 15, 16-foot boat at least. And so they, you know, have these boats up in their boat lifts. And a couple of years ago, a friend called and woke me up in the morning and said, you need to come out. Everything's flooded. I'm like, what? I mean, because it had just, like, one of these storms had just kind of stayed over us, and nobody really expected the flooding, right? And when a high tide hits and that rain hits and it stays over you. And I remember getting up in the middle of the night and seeing just lightning every time, looking out the bathroom window, seeing lightning just incredibly, just like every second for hours. And so the next morning, Bob calls and he says, hey, get up, everything's flooded. And I'm like, what's flooded? What could flood? Just the water's out there. We get out, and man, everybody's boats are like floating everywhere because, they lifted the boats up, but they didn't tie them down. And so when the water came up, it just floated their boats off their boat lifts, and there were just boats floating everywhere. And coolers had floated off docks, and furniture had floated off docks. And so it was nuts. Ty Bullard sent us some video of here's one of our neighbor's docks. Show the dock picture. Just to let you know kind of what's happening, all right? So, you said there's a lot of expensive damage that can happen. It's better almost that a dock just like goes underwater, okay? Because if this is the dock and the waves, it just goes underwater and the waves are up here and all that wind's up here, that dock can kind of structurally be fine. But one of the worst things to happen to a dock is that water be just about level with the dock, because these waves are coming in and they're knocking these boards loose and they're pulling up the pilings. And so that's why after a storm, a lot of time we'll see a dock and it'll be just like up and down, or boards missing or gone. Okay. And so, I think this is like a 90-second, a little bit longer, but Ty Bullard and his wife, Johanna, and their sons, that just awesome kids, they're over at their place in Josephine, which is right across the bay from us. And so Ty took these. So let's watch this. So that's kind of what it's like, and it's not a bad one. Yeah, this is not a bad one. So one of the weirdest things to us here is that right now, today, is the 16-year anniversary of Hurricane Ivan, which just absolutely devastated us here. But Hurricane Ivan came in 16 years ago. Ivan, in its track, killed 123 people. We obviously left. We actually only knew one person who stayed, but we left, and actually it was Polly, me, the boys, PC and David, Jerry and Katrina, and Peyton and Glenn Ellen, and 16 years ago. Oh my gosh, the kids have grown up. Glenn Ellen's out in Los Angeles, out in Hollywood. We see her on television, different shows all the time now. If you see a beautiful redheaded girl on a television show, it's probably Glenn Ellen. And we went up to Jim and Mary Pace's lake house up in Alexander City to get away from the storm, and we're there for several days. And remember getting, the rumors are like rampant when something like that's going on. And so we're hearing, that stuff is just like gone. It's just gone. And some of it was gone, but then some of it, people were looking the wrong direction or something because it wasn't gone. But heard from Katrina this morning saying, happy Ivan nursery. And that's something we'll never forget. The traffic is insane, trying to evacuate. And, sometimes people will say to me, I don't know how you can live there with all the hurricanes. And, when you consider hurricanes against tornadoes, fires, earthquakes, at least they tell us it's coming. At least they tell us, get out. So Susie Armstrong Mayo says, did I read the story on the audio of Just Jones? Yes, I did. That is me doing it. And I like doing those. I enjoy doing those. I hear those voices in my head long before I sit down and do it. Rick and Bubba, the radio guys, who, if you're somewhere in the country that you don't get the morning guys, Rick and Bubba, they're syndicated. A lot of people listen to them. They're incredibly popular. And so their characters in the book, they have a cameo appearance in the book. And it's funny that when I'm doing these books, I'm reading them, and you have to choose a voice, right? And And so some of them, I just kind of, these characters, I know them. And so some of them I'll try to do their voice. Mike Martin, Mike talks like this. That's the way Mike talks. And, at his place in the book, I just, instead of just inventing a voice, I just used Mike's voice. And then Rick and Bubba, when I got to their part, I like tried to do their voice, so it was pretty funny. Anyway, I love doing those. And Yvonne asks, what helps people get over the heartache and face this unbelievable task of rebuilding? We're not going to have that right here now with this storm coming ashore. But we saw that in Louisiana, right? Earlier, like a month ago, several weeks ago. And it's a weird thing because everybody comes in, everybody kind of comes back at one time, and everybody's kind of stunned. Again, with a tornado, or something going through an area, there are other neighbors, other people in the area to help. But in the case of a hurricane, it's kind of like it's everybody. It's the whole town and several towns in a row. And people forget that it isn't just their homes. A lot of people are in tough situations because it's their home and their business gets messed up. We were very fortunate in the aftermath of Ivan because my work was other places. I didn't have my business right here in Orange Beach. It still took us 2 years to get back into our house. We were in 3 different rental houses and fortunate to be able to find them. And so it was a nutty time, but everybody, Yvonne, everybody kind of relies on everybody else. And, there are people that do come in from other areas. I can tell you just from having experienced it myself, it's all the people that are in other areas. It's the churches, it's the civic clubs. Those are the people who really help. Dealing with the government after one of these things is kind of like dealing with the insurance company. Polly said, and she still says to this day, that dealing with the insurance company was much worse than dealing with the storm. And that's true. It's, you're looking at a situation where the adjusters, they're the money they make and that the companies make is according to how much they save, and people never think about what you're insuring. I've wondered about that for a long time because it's like you say, if you insure an item and like you insure a boat, we hear this all the time. Somebody insures their boat, and they paid $25,000 for their boat, okay, and so they insure a $25,000 boat. But when 4 years later, when the boat gets destroyed, and they go to the insurance company and say, "Hey, $25,000 to get another boat," and they say, "Well, we're looking at the book here, and that boat wasn't worth that much. That boat is a 4-year-old boat, and it's only worth whatever, $10,000, and yet, well, for 4 years you took my $25,000 premiums." And so it's crazy, and they're wanting these people to they're wanting these people to provide proof of what they have, and do you have a receipt for your toaster? Yeah, we didn't either. We didn't have a receipt for. I mean, who over a period of years when you have a television, you have a toaster, you have a bedspread, you have, you know, whatever it is that you have. Do you have receipts filed away for those things? I'm sure somebody does, but we didn't. And there were some great things that came out of that. We made some great friends. Spent a lot of time outdoors because in our case with Ivan, there was no power, so there's no air conditioning. There's no. Everybody's trying to cook something out of their what might be left, but. We didn't have anything. Literally, Polly and I were lining up in the Red Cross line for hot dogs and ice and stuff because, you don't get back in for 2 or 3 or 4 days. And so power's off. So everything in your freezer, everything in your refrigerator, everything's ruined. And Chris Comer makes a video inventory annually. Well, see, Chris, where were you 16 years ago, right before the storm, to tell me to do that? That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Gretchen says if you did have receipts, they'd probably lost with the house. That's exactly right. In fact, that's what I'll say. Yeah, we had receipts for everything, but they got blown away. In our case, after that storm, after Ivan, it's very weird because our next door neighbors bulldozed. What was left of their house was just bulldozed, and then we come back and you look and you go, well, I think a lot of this, okay. So people bulldozed this way, people bulldozed this way. Then we had friends like one house up, and they kind of did what we did, which turns out we did not do the smart thing. We should have bulldozed, because you look and you think, I think the ceiling's okay. Isn't this okay? We kind of we tear the sheetrock out, but I think aren't these floors okay? And then 10 days later you go, is the ceiling buckling? Are these floors buckling up? And yeah, they are. So you take them out, you pull them out. Well, you got to get rid of that. And so then you look and go, well, at least all the, the ductwork and the wiring and, the appliances, everything's good there. And so then, the electricity comes back on, you go, the appliances are not working. Got to replace the appliances. So you replace the appliances and you go, here's the wiring. So, you're tearing out everything, tearing out all the wiring. And so then the ductwork, by the time you get that stuff done, it's like there's mold in these air conditioning ducts. And so got to tear those out. We literally, instead of bulldozing over a period of about 4 months, it took us, $100,000 just to take the house apart a piece at a time. Whereas if we'd have bulldozed it, it would have all been done. But we pulled it back down to the studs. We got pictures of the concrete pad and the studs. And so, but yeah, Jason Elkins said, do you feel anxious during these storms because of that experience? Yeah, I got to tell you, man, I was just like, we don't want to go through that again, But it was crazy. But, Kevin Perkins and Todd Rainsberger, these guys come and, help us. I still remember Todd sitting on a bucket pulling sheetrock out and stuff. And remember PC at the house, like taking out just wads of. Tell me when we're back. Ooh.
Looks like we're back now, but people would need to open up a new, if they're on Facebook.
Need to refresh
Yeah.
on Facebook. I don't know. How am I supposed to tell them that?
It stayed connected through YouTube, or it just popped back up, but yeah, Facebook would be a new video now.
Okay, so Facebook, they need to refresh, okay? Let's see. All right. So they can't see me anyway, though, right?
Yeah, people are already rejoining the new
Okay,
video.
rejoining. Okay, all right, good. What was I about to tell? I was about to tell something, but we got this big flash, and then boom, there's the wind and the lightning, and everything's like knocking stuff out. And so it's like, when you're on the cell phone with somebody and you keep getting knocked off. So I'll just tell you, if we get knocked off again, I love y'all, okay? If we get knocked off again, I love you. We'll talk later. Somebody had asked about just being anxious because of the, what we've gone through. And yeah, I mean, man, you just don't want to do that again. And I was going to tell you also that today the Professional Noticer came out, and it was with Jimmy Yeary. And we did it we did the first and the last here. And then last week I was up in Nashville, and I spent the night with Jimmy and Sonia and their kids. And so Jason came over, and Jimmy and I did we did the middle part of the podcast up there. Okay. And so we had just done Jimmy's Yeary Chapel show, and then we stayed and we recorded the podcast. And so we did it with different songs and everything. So you'll see that. Definitely go and look at the podcast today. It came out. And if you're not subscribed to the podcast, come on, okay? All you got to do is just put your email address in with andyandrews.com. And, we do it audio and video. So you can see it on YouTube. You can, listen to it in your car. And, boy, it's even darker out here. But on the podcast, Jimmy has a song that Lee Bryce has recorded, and Lee Bryce is the guy who did I Drive Your Truck that Jimmy wrote, okay? And so Lee Bryce is doing another song that Jimmy wrote, and it's not out yet, but Jimmy did it for us on the podcast, and it is just awesome. So I think you'll really like that. You guys, sure appreciate your friendship, your prayers. This will be a great time to read if you haven't read lately. And if you don't have anything to read, you can go on Audible and get Just Jones immediately. And go close your eyes, act like you're taking a nap, and listen to it. I'll read it to you. While we're having a hurricane, I'll read you the whole story. So you can get it on Audible, or you can get it, go ahead and order it on Amazon or get it on Kindle. I really hope you like it. I think I'm excited about this one, and whatever you guys can do to spread the word, if you like it, I'd appreciate that. And if you like it, please go and review it. And Rhonda Jones, you're here for the first time. Awesome. So glad you're here. Rhonda, if you're on Facebook, press that notification button right there, okay? Because that way, every time we go live, you'll be notified. And so Sybil ordered the Audible version. Good. And Gina Christmas is listening to me read it to her. That's good. Austin is out where is he? He's out in Idaho. And he drove out there. So I'll be riding back with him. So Sarah, Did you notice? Well, there was one typo. We've already found a typo in the book. Now, I don't tell you that so that you'll go try to find it, okay? But Sarah is the one who really kind of go, wow, ooh, I just saw something big blow by. It wasn't a cow or anything, but it was something big. Makes you nervous. What was I saying? I don't even know what I was saying. There's something about the book, though. One thing I am very curious about. Now, you guys cannot, when there's a place about, I don't know, 3/4 of the way into the book, into the story, that Jones, at one of the coffee conversations around the peace table, which I'm sitting at the peace table right now, Jones actually does a riddle, has kind of this riddle thing. And I don't give the answer to it. Jones, I just kind of report what happened. And, the answer's not in the book. And so I've talked to several people who were really, really excited to figure out that riddle. And but when you figure it out, and you will, don't put the answer on Facebook, or don't put the answer where everybody can see it. Let them figure it out. And I thought it was funny. Ty, if you're watching, your dad texted me and said, I got it. So I was really excited that Uncle Joe got the riddle. Did I tell you that I met the Kinder family from the Carolinas a couple of weeks ago, and they have a son that I got to take pictures with. I wish I had the pictures right here. Need to bring them in, but his name is Jones. They named him Jones after the noticer. That's his first name, Jones. So it's Jones Kinder. Isn't that cool? I just think that's very cool. I think that's it. I think that's all. I keep watching things fly by out there, and I think that I need to get Matt home. I think Matt probably needs to go home and be safe. And then I came up here at 3 o'clock this morning. I couldn't sleep, and so I came, and we're still trying to get the outside, so when you come visit us, it'll look nice and everything. So I came up here, and we're putting a lot of some of the historical stuff that I've collected over the years out here, and I worked on some of that at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I laid down in the back, and I couldn't sleep when I got here either. But Hurricane Central, Hurricane Mustang Sally coming ashore. Nadine, she says she thinks we all need to go home and be safe, and I think we will. We need, oh, by the way, man, you need to go and look at Sugarcane Jane and see the new song that they have done. It's like 2 minutes, and I can't remember the name of the song. They're going to kill me. But they didn't ask me to say anything about it, but I'm just telling you, it's pretty awesome. So there's Sugarcane Jane. Yvonne says, lay down, Sally. Yes, that is a great order. We would like to lay down, Sally. See, if we had Superman here, somebody asked me not too long ago that, who did I think was stronger, Mighty Mouse or Superman? And the answer's obvious on that. Superman's obviously stronger than Mighty Mouse because Mighty Mouse is a cartoon and Superman is real. So obviously Superman is stronger, but he can go against the wind, If you know anything about Superman at all, you know that even if the hurricane's going counter, he can go clockwise, and he can. Can he? I think he can, unless there's kryptonite offshore. Then we're just, we have no hope. I didn't like Mighty Mouse as much as, Mighty Mouse I thought was kind of a poser, but I did like Underdog. We ought to go out on Underdog. Polly says I've been cursed to remember everything I ever heard in my life. Adamant, I liked Adamant, and I liked Ant-Man. But Underdog, remember the song? Okay, I'll sing it if you guys will all go, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh. You remember that? Remember that part? So everybody at home right now, Kevin Perkins, I see you out there. Give me an ooh-ah. Ooh-ah. Man, I thought I had turned this off. So, okay, it's silent now. So, ooh-ah, ooh-ah, ooh-ah. When criminals in, let's see, how's it? Come on now. All right, here we go. When criminals in this world appear and do the things we all should fear, there is no need to worry. Here the cry goes out from far and near for underdog, 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 underdog. Speed of lightning, roar of thunder, fighting for the one who's under, underdog. Man, I set that way too high.
Say goodbye?
Okay, are we on? We are? Okay. We didn't know where to play music. Here we go. We're gone with Sugarcane Jane playing the music. And we'll talk to you soon. All right. Love you guys. Y'all be safe. And we will be too.